I'm on
Morning,
this call.
everybody. It is the 4th of November. We're Signal Centre Talking Ball. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Ian Coleman and Steve O'Hare. Good morning, guys.
Morning all.
Morning.
Everybody okay?
Fair to middling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Fun and games overnight. Obviously, the election is underway in the States. We've already had Trump on this morning claiming that he's won various states when they haven't announced officially if that's the case. He's already used a fraud word as well. It's really too close to call at the moment. So there's no answer on who's going to be in the White House, and I think that's pretty much what we all expected. It was going to go down to the wire, and it's going to take quite a considerable period of time before we actually get any sort of announcement on who's going to win. I think from what I've heard in Pennsylvania, they've got 1.4 million votes, postal votes that they haven't counted yet. So there's still a lot of work to do in some of these states to get an answer, basically. But the markets aren't really enjoying all the uncertainty as you would expect. Been some wild moves overnight in various markets. Hopefully you guys are going to talk us through some of those charts.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything
I don't
interesting
mind.
to show off the bat?
Yeah, I think if we sort of like, it's a little bit like we were talking here yesterday. Oh, that looks a bit weird, doesn't it, showing you that?
It's like Inception.
Yeah, it was on the talking ball yesterday. We talked about the NASDAQ. Well, I talked about the NASDAQ. Ian said about the sort of like the move up we're expecting. And I said, I really like this head and shoulders formation, which is here on here. And I said it looks so good that it's sort of like you usually tend to find the things that look so good turn around and slap you right in the face. And Ian said, I really like that reverse trend line as well. It's managed to sort of do exactly what we said yesterday. Have this like sort of rally higher, and we broke it down to the 4-hour chart, and we talked about I said potentially we get up to 11,755. So we're not far away. It was a little bit higher than that. Sorry about that. But 61.8% retracement, which is a common retracement in Fibonacci, and it's rejected there. And from there, it sort of like dropped about 400 points in the matter of a few hours. So it does make me believe in this formation even more. I mean, I would sort of say that I'd be questioning the formation if we get a break above the right shoulder or maybe a break of this trend line. But I don't think we're going to get it. I think we're going to sort of like, as this plays out, and maybe it looks like chances are that Trump's probably going to hold on. We'll have this stock market rally, but I do believe it will fail. And
if he doesn't hold on, he's not going to admit to it anyway.
No, exactly.
Kicking and screaming.
So whatever way you look at it, I think there's going to be more volatility, potential for some, a really sharp move higher based on Trump getting in, I believe. But it's going to be short-lived. I think we're going to sort of like see that market turn. And again, for the gun to head challenge, I'm already thinking about it. I still will probably avoid selling it because I think there's a lot on the upside, and sort of risk reward wise, I'd rather maybe be selling a break.
Yeah, it's interesting you've got that, because I've got something. Can I just have the?
You need to share your
I'm
screen.
not sharing my screen, am I? Because this is all sort of playing out pretty well. So this was the chart that we showed yesterday on the US 30, so Wall Street, so this confluence area, and then we moved up here. And what I did say yesterday was that sometimes you have to look at these different time frames to really get a grip on where you think the overall picture is and the short-term picture, and blah 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 blah. So this was the long-term picture, which could still play out to both of these levels, so around about 2.5, and then worst case scenario down here at 15622. And then looking at a short time frame, and we're talking about volatility, this would make a very nice Gartley if it plays out. So basically moving lower on this uncertainty, maybe to around about sort of 26400 is probably about 88.6%. Let's have a look from there to there, isn't it? No, wrong way around. I always do that. Why do I always do that? which is to there in that zone, and then a move back up to here, which would sort of force that right shoulder that Stevie's sort of talking about. So I think over the next, and this might be over the next sort of 2 or 3 days, by the way, because they're talking about one of the biggest swing states. I heard this morning it's going to take, they reckon, at least 2 days to get the results from. And if Trump is kicking and screaming and wanting to go to the courts already, I would have expect a prolonged period of volatility. So selling off maybe today, tomorrow, and then maybe a bit of a false rally up, and then another move to the downside. But it's very hard to reflect that sort of move or that volatility onto the currency pairs, because what's going to happen with the dollar, it's just going to fly about all over the place.
Yeah, going to make it exceptionally difficult for any of us to really predict where markets are going to go. It's just probably going to be, you're going to have to get lucky, I think. So maybe the best option is to stand aside. Obviously, we're going to put our necks on the line and make some calls in a short while. But other than that, I don't really know where to turn with it, to be honest. I think probably just got to, as I say, step aside.
Not a bad idea. Or go for the extremities, i.e. try and buy at 88.6% with a super tight stop and see if you can get a move to the upside. But
Yeah.
like I'm saying, I mean, I think at the moment, when you're looking at a 4-hour chart and they're all closing little net change and there's just massive spikes in both directions, if you're trying to play intraday, like 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute charts, you're just going to get absolutely crucified.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, you got anything else on the indices or the commodities that's caught your eye?
Yeah, I mean, sort of like again, sort of like FTSE in this channel. This is a weekly charts. We're seeing a rejection on the DAX. I sort of think this is looking negative. Commodities, gold looks like it's just chopping about, and it's sort of, there's no. I mean, if you look at the hourly chart, the rally up to, we got a nice rally up overnight up to $1,917, and then a few hours later, a really severe sell-off. This was, I think, sort of like positive Trump, and then sort of negative Trump. So, yeah, I don't sort of like, and we're sort of, this was my gun to head challenge yesterday. I'm a bit disappointed. We got stopped out. I got stopped out here about 4 o'clock. Managed to get up there eventually, but this was 11 o'clock at night, so it didn't really count. Yeah, I think it's just sort of chopping about based on the dollar price action as well, the commodities. So a little bit more of that to come. Yeah, looking at the dollar 4-hour chart, obviously a very bullish outside candle here. That's from midnight. But then it's sort of like we found some resistance up here at 94.27. So apart from that, I'm sort of, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I do think that these stock markets, it felt like this morning that the Europe was leading the way a little bit. US was hanging on, but everything's come back this morning. So, or the last hour especially.
Yeah, I think we're set for more of that throughout the day. I mean, away from US politics, we've got Boris Johnson going to Parliament today, trying to put the lockdown rules through. I can't see that having really any impact on UK markets because everybody's focusing on what's going on in the US, and rightly so.
It was quite interesting. There's a report on TV, or a reporter on TV last night talking about the US election, but he was also talking about Boris Johnson and Brexit. And he basically said if Biden gets in, then that's going to force his hand, and that he's going to have to try and do a deal with Europe quickly, because Biden's pro-Europe, not pro-UK, like Trump. And basically he'll have to bend the knee a little bit.
Okay.
So it could be quite interesting for sterling, basically, this election as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's everything's going to be affected, you would have thought. We do have some data out today. We've got US ADP employment at 115. We've then got US trade balance at 130. ISM non-manufacturing PMIs at 3, and then crude inventories at 330. And they may just be not really have any impact at all, obviously, because of what's going on with the. I was going to try and use some sort of metaphor there, but I couldn't think of anything that wasn't rude. So
Just
I'll
use
leave
a
that one
rude one.
alone.
No, just use a rude one. It's fine.
Pissing in the wind or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so gun to the head then. Let's move on to that because there's not really much else we can do talking about charts until they settle down. Yesterday we had trades on Aussie yen, which I was stopped out on. Steve, you had oil, which you were stopped out on. You were about 3R up on that at one point, I think, on your way to a 5R return, but didn't work out. Ian, you had a 0.25R win on dollar CAD. So all in all, a little bit of a downturn in the P&L, but it's a pretty hideous day with volatility, so that's not too bad considering. What you guys got today? What are you going to put your neck on the line with today? Who wants to go first?
I'm keeping well away from the dollar, and but I thought this is quite interesting. This chart here, only on a risk reward basis, is Swiss yen. So you can tell the volatility from last night. This is from the 9 o'clock candle last night, and it's just moved sideways. But we do have a cipher pattern up here, so I'm just going to target that. Like I said, I think if you go intraday on the dollar or dollar-based pairs, there's a good chance you're just going to get whipped out. So I'll have a little go at this. It's not going to be, the risk reward's not going to be fantastic. I'll be glad to catch anything, I think, today. 114.70, targeting 115.57 with a 37 tick stop. Gives me 2.3R.
Okay, nice one. I'll go next. I'm looking at dollar CAD, so I'm going balls deep into dollar.
Nice, good metaphor.
So head and shoulders top, which we caught last week. Ian, you caught some of that yesterday, and I had some of it the day before. We saw a nice move down to the 161.8% extension. We've seen a decent rally up, and we're testing that neckline there, as you can see. So I'm going to sell it now at 132.50 with a 50 tick stop, or 52 tick stop, 133.02, and target an even deeper move to the downside at 1.300. So let's see how that works out today. That would be 5R if that plays out from here. Obviously ultra speculative given the current circumstances. So let's see how that goes. Steve, what you got?
I said I wasn't going to sell indices, but I can't help myself. I'm going to sell indices. I'm looking at Dow. Mainly thinking about the way it's actually reacted really nicely, rejected this reverse trend line, and it's back below the cloud. The cloud's coming in at 27,605. The high of the day is 27,780. So yeah, I'm going to go for a short position here. It's trading 27,000. Better say it before it moves. 27,427. My stop will be at 27,827 because I like to keep it pretty simple, and I will go for I'm going for a big old sell-off, boys. Only 4-to-1 risk reward. Well, only, that's all right. Well, actually, I think if we go there, we may as well go the whole hog, mightn't we? I'm sort of thinking that
Total collapse.
Yeah. Oh no, don't change the stop. Can't manage that. Down to 25,000 and 27. 25,000 is obviously a pretty round number. So let's go for that, Stevie boy. That's short here. 27,427. Stop at 400 points higher. The target is 2,400 points lower.
Okay, great. So 3 trade ideas there. We're going short dollar CAD, we're going long Swiss franc versus yen, and we are going short of the Dow. So good luck if you're following those. Obviously, exceptional circumstances today, given that
It's in
we
the
are
House.
waiting for the election to pan out one way or the other. Not really much more I think we can add, gents, with regards to charts until they start to settle down and we have a little bit more certainty in the situation. So probably best we wrap it up there and get back to watching it all live on the telly.
Yeah, good luck, everyone.
Great. Have a good day.
Enjoy.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye.